All right. So first, just give me your name, your year, major.
Does my name include my stage name?
You can if you want to.
My name is Opeyemi Oweye. A lot of people call me Ope, but I'm better known as O Slice. I'm a sophomore at the University of Maryland.
All right.
What else?
So my first question, this is probably kind of a stupid question for you. Are you a fan of hip hop?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. All right. So many people who don't like hip hop are concerned with the images it portrays, use of language, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel about the images portrayed in hip hop, and do you approve of them?
It's kind of half and half. I don't agree with a lot of the images they portray about women. They make women seem insignificant a lot of times. And if we are significant, they portray it in a way as like we're materials.
Mm-hmm.
As far as like, cars, shoes, money, women.
Right.
Like we're not people. We're just
right.
things to acquire and get rid of when you're done with. That's one thing I really don't mess with about hip hop. Another thing I don't really mess with is the whole drug glorification. Like, I mean, there's some drugs that, like, regardless of hip hop, people would still be dwelling in, like alcohol and weed. But certain things like Molly and lean, I feel like people wouldn't be messing with that if the people in hip hop or like the people who they look up to most of the time are saying that it's cool. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, but other than that, I feel like hip hop, not all images are bad. Like the way that they influence clothes and the way that it influences a lot of things that people don't realize or give it credit for.
Okay. What's the next one? All right. How integral do you think these images in hip hop are to Black culture? How much influence do you think it has on how the world or shapes our view of Black people and Black culture?
I think it greatly influences Black culture. As far as the whole women thing, I feel like it definitely attributes to the way that men look at women, mm-hmm. and like men actually like feel about women. They don't realize that half the time these artists still have like women in their lives that they do take care of and they do treat with respect, but they just listen to the lyrics and they take that and they run with it and try to live their lives according to that, not knowing that half the time that's just an act. So I feel like it's definitely integrated, but sometimes not in the best ways. And as far as Black culture, I feel like it's reflective of Black culture. So it's like what came first, the chicken or the egg. Right. So it's like Black culture influences hip hop, and then hip hop influences Black culture. So it's interchangeable.
All right. Do you think that positive images portrayed in hip hop have a lesser impact on Black youth than the negative images portrayed?
Definitely. But I don't think that's necessarily the fault of the youth. I feel like most of the time when a positive message is put across, it's corny. So why would it stick? It's just like either it comes across as corny or it comes across as preachy. So why listen to that when you have catchy stuff that's negative? Like, it's catchy. Like, so what if it's dumb and it doesn't make sense and it's kind of detrimental?
Right.
If it's catchy, it's catchy.
Okay. And let's see. Do you believe that older African Americans, like, parents, mentors, Black leaders, do you believe that they see hip hop as a bad influence? And do you believe it has a significance on what they would consider the downfalls of Black youth?
That's tricky. That's tricky. I definitely feel like a lot of the older generation doesn't really mess with hip hop, and they feel like it is a negative thing. I know my mom, for example, until she saw like what I was actually doing with my music, like having positive influences and trying to like do something positive with my music. Like whenever she heard me rap, she'd be like, I don't want to hear that nonsense. Like, don't even do that. And I mean, and at first I was like, I definitely was. I wouldn't say I was negative, but I wasn't. I would say my music wasn't going in a direction that would be seen as positive. Not necessarily negative, but it wasn't uplifting anybody. It was just like, you know, cussing all over the place. I don't cuss anymore in my music, but I used to cuss up a storm. And my mother didn't like that, and I could see why older people would see it as something negative. As far as it being the downfall of the black youth, I feel like once again, the people that they look up to, the values that they put out there, like don't love women, like women are objects, and dudes aren't anything, you know. What else? The other saying for that is, and you know, trust nobody, stuff like that. It's just like the values that are put out by a lot of hip hop songs. I understand that they come from like places of experience and stuff like that, but a lot of these youth, a lot of the youth that listen to that don't have those experiences, but they listen to those lessons and attribute it to their lives, and it puts us in a place where we're not really progressing like we should be. I don't think it's hip hop's fault per se, because these people are talking about their lives, so it's valid when it comes from them. But for people to just listen to the music and automatically just say, that's what I'm going to do, and that's like, you should live your own life and figure out what values are important to you, not just adapt someone else's.
Okay. And I think the last one, only one I need. What influence does hip hop have on the culture on this campus? Primarily on the black community, but even on the campus as a whole.
I think it's really interesting on its influence on the campus as a whole, because there's a lot of people who are not of, you know, the African American descent that do listen to hip hop and rap on this campus, and they play it at their parties and all that stuff. The influences, I can just tell the story. Like, I remember going to my first like not black party, like my white party, in college, and they were chilling. They were playing like dubstep and like, you know, not our music, and they were dancing around and jumping and having fun. Then the whole Miley Cyrus twerking thing came out, and then I haven't gone to another white party, and then I go to a white party. It was my friend's birthday, and we're in the party, and I'm looking around, and it's just like everybody's trying to twerk. They weren't doing it right, but it was just so interesting seeing like how one white person did it, and she made it like she what's it called? She what's the word for it? She sensationalized it, and then they feel like, you know, so I feel like it's not just black people who take these things and run with it. It's also white people, especially white people on this campus. They love it. Like, I got white people that I work with that work in my other job, and they talk about like putting together playlists for partying. And they're like, Don't Stop and all that, like songs like that. I just think it's interesting how it influences their lives. I feel like the difference is it's not attributed to them. Like, the thing about hip hop, when we listen to it, it's like we listen to rap, and the themes that occur is like a lot of people's lives, and a lot of people can relate to that. And like outside, it's seeing like those stereotypes that are attributed to the artists are the stereotypes attributed to the people that listen to the music. But when people that are not of the race or not of the same background, when they listen to the music, it's just music to them, and like they can go out and do things without the hip hop influencing any part of that, like their lives. But with us, it's like integrated.
Alrighty, thank you. I appreciate it. Oh, last question, just for fun. Who's your favorite rap artist? Other than yourself, of course.
Okay, this is, a lot of people judge me when I say this. My favorite rap artist, even though it's a little bit like waning right now, is Big Sean. I really love how much fun he has with his music, and he's a really positive influence because, you know, a lot of his music, people would say he's not a positive influence, but because I know his story, I know he's a positive influence. Like, he was a kid, like, he had no connections to the music business. He worked for it, and he like jumped on opportunity that he found. So I really appreciate his story. He does have positive music. People just don't look for it or like want to hear it. And then aside from Big Sean, I love Kendrick. I love Chance the Rapper. I love J. Cole. Kanye's cool. He's losing it, but he's cool. Don't like Jay-Z. Yeah, I like Chance the Rapper. He's cool.
Alrighty.